why did I call Tuesday No Excuse Day Tuesday? Obviously it rhymes. It's cliche. It's got a little ring to it. But here's why. 10 years after I read the book called The Magic of Thinking Big, written by David Schwartz, he passed away. I'll never forget the day he passed away because it was on my birthday. When he was 60 years young, he wrote The Magic of Thinking Big back in 1959 when I was 1. When I was told I should read, I was told that was the first book that I should read, The Magic of Thinking Big. I was just brand new to the home business profession. I had just one excuse after another after another. I had zero training or exposure to the art of positive thinking. We hear about that, be a positive person in life, et cetera, but I didn't know that there were actual courses on it. I didn't think that there were courses on it. You're either positive or you're negative. It's one or the other, and I thought that was it. But that was how limited my thinking was. And in my first home business, I said, I don't know anybody. I don't know many people. And that was my first excuse. And I'll never forget that. The first time I counseled with a big leader, I had to wait several hours in his house. I think I talked about this once before I finally got to speak with him. When he said to me after he asked me a few questions, and I just kept giving one excuse after another, everybody said no, that I showed this to. I didn't think they would join when they first were exposed to what I was doing. And I just went on and on and on with, I don't have much time because I'm in college, so I don't have much time. That was another excuse, right? The truth was I was afraid. But as a young man, I wouldn't admit that I was afraid, right? I was afraid of the rejection, so I wanted to avoid it. So obviously the best way to avoid rejection was to make excuses up as to why. So he said, Magic of Thinking Big, you need to read that first. I said, why? He said, well, I'll give you 2 quick reasons, but you're going to have to figure it out yourself by reading it. He said in the first chapter, it says, believe you can succeed, and you will. David said, believe it can be done, and when you believe something can be done, really believe, your mind will find ways to do it. And believing a solution paves the way to a solution, is what David Schwartz wrote. He said, but I want you to really look at chapter 2, because you need to cure yourself of something we call excuse-itis. I didn't know that having excuses in life was actually a defined word called excuse-itis. And David Schwartz labeled it as a failure disease. Now, David did not list all the excuses everybody gives in life in that chapter because that would have been a whole book in and of itself. He said, but he did list the 4 major excuse-itis topics: health, intelligence, age, and luck. And I'm not going to go into the details of all that, but I would highly recommend that you pick up that book and read chapter 2 on excuses. Because, when we face difficult situations in life, we need to keep reminding ourselves that we're better than we think we are. I discovered that highly effective people make fewer excuses because they're continually searching for ways to achieve their goals, because their goal is important enough to them to do that. And so they remove excuses and look at themselves honestly. Best place to look at yourself honestly is in the mirror. Now, have a little conversation with yourself. I don't care how weird that seems. It's just powerful. But Schwartz said that the excuse-itis is a failure disease. That's why he labeled that chapter that way. It appears in all kinds of forms, and like he said, health, intelligence, age, and luck. Back then, I didn't have any age excuse because I was, 19 years old? So age wasn't an excuse. Today, I could easily use age as an excuse, but I don't because I was trained not to. So when somebody says, oh, I'm getting old, and they're like 65, I just look at them and say, well, wait a minute, you're 90? How old is 90? No, I'm getting old. People just say things out of habit, and they keep saying things over and over and over again. And he said, with respect to health, he said, don't pass up on living by thinking yourself into a hospital bed. Yeah, we all have issues as we get older, and we all have health issues, but talking about your bad health all the time is like putting fertilizer on weeds, is what David Schwartz said. And he said, on top of that, you don't get respect and loyalty by being a chronic complainer about your health. So I made a decision early on in life to try to keep my health issues as private as possible so that I didn't have to keep complaining about them. And I'll tell you what, I do have serious health issues. But, hey, I have a better attitude issue. How's that? And how we respond and how we handle our health issues has a lot to do with our attitude. And if we choose not to have that attitude and choose to wallow in self-pity, poor little old me, Plum syndrome, P-L-O-M, poor little old me, then, you'll just habitually work yourself into a negative spiral that just brings yourself down. Or, I'm not very smart. I'm not really smart. I wish I was as smart as so-and-so is. It's not how big your brain is that matters. It's how you use your brain that counts, right? And learning this stuff and reading this stuff, I was like, wow. It just opened up my eyes that the world is a lot bigger place than I thought it was as a young, just out of living with mom and dad into the world, 19-year-old kid. Yeah, I was still a kid. But using things as excuses is so easy to fall into unless you are aware of it. And the more you read and the more you associate with people like on this call, the more you're going to improve on that and improve yourself, and the less and less excuses that you're going to make when you're not succeeding. Guess what? Guess whose fault that is? It's not the person who brought you in. Oh, they're not helping me. No, you're not helping you. You're not taking action. Be honest with yourself if you're not succeeding in life, because it's nobody's fault but yours. I hope everybody makes it a wonderful day, and don't let anyone steal your dreams. And bye for now.